Good morning. How are we on this fine day? Only me again. So I'm getting kind of worried about. I'm gonna actually finally run out of shit to talk about. But I've got so much shit that I want to talk about. But I'm just like worried because I don't. It's hard to talk about a lot of these, but I think I'm just gonna give it a go. You know what I mean? What can I lose, really? Everything that's happened has happened for a reason, and I've got to where I am because of it. But I'm not gonna let this video be for it, really. So I'm thinking about just starting from the beginning, really. That'll probably be better. A lot of content then in there to talk about, so I don't want him to go on for too long anyway. 5-10 minutes max. So when I was younger, I was a bit of a loner, I'd say. I was really into computer games. I was in the era of the Sega. Well, the first computer I had was a Spectrum ZX Spectrum, so that's showing you my age. But I like my first console I properly had was a Master System, and then I had a Super Nintendo, and that's the one that I loved. I just loved it. It was like the best Christmas present that anyone could ever have. So I mean, just on that, you can tell that my childhood wasn't bad. I had a good childhood. You know what I mean? I always had what I wanted. Well, not like sport as in whatever I wanted, but I always had the stuff. Christmas, birthdays. I've never forgot. It was all good. So I can't complain about that. This mask is doing my heading because it keeps slipping. So yeah, I was a bit of a recluse. I just stayed in playing my computer games. I had friends when I was younger. Don't get me wrong, but it was my choice, really. And maybe that's the real me, isn't it? It's the introvert, the person that doesn't want to be famous, all that stuff. So I used to live with my nan probably from the age 8, 9, 10, something like that. I can't really remember, but until about I was 14, I think 13, 14. I think I was about 13 when she died. So then I had to go. I went and moved back with my mum and dad, and really, it just started from then. Really, I just like not hit the rail. What's the word? Hit the rails. Went off the rails. I wouldn't say I went off the rails. I was just exploring my new self, because I changed. It was one summer that I started hanging around with some lads who I used to hang around with when I was at junior school. So I went to junior school, met a lot. I had loads of friends at junior school, typical young life. And then I went to high school, and I broke away from everybody. We went to different high schools, and I went because my best friend at the time was going to this school. But we got put in different sets, like they call them sets. I think it was because I was a little bit, I hate to say, but a little bit clever. I was put in a different set. So I was with people who wasn't really from my neck of the woods. Because where I grew up, it was very rough, council estate type place. But I was always good at, in my education. I was always good. So that kind of put me on a different path, and I was with my dad to make a whole bunch of new friends who wasn't really my cup of tea. And yeah, I just turned into this bit of a recluse from year 7 till about year 8 or 9. And then this one summer, I started hanging around with people who I used to hang around with when I was younger, and they went to a different school, a bit of a rougher school, you know what I mean? I heard all the stories that were saying, oh, you can do this, you get away with this, and all this is brilliant and all that. And I just wanted to go then. So I changed schools, And then I just started doing the old drinking, you know, going out, getting some drinks and getting fireworks and fucking about and going up to different estates and causing trouble, you know, all that stuff that you do when you're younger. Well, I don't think most people do that, but we definitely did it. And it just started from there, and started hanging around with more and more people, getting introduced to more and more people around my estate. I knew from junior school, I knew him from when I was young, but then obviously I broke away. And I just started making friends with people, and I remember, I think I was 14 or 15, something like that. And I was hanging around with these guys that were 16, and they were all starting to go out to bars and clubs and stuff like that. And they said, why don't you come? And I was like, I'm way too young, I'll never get in. Just try, they were saying. So I borrowed my mate's Ben Sherman shirt, and it was about fucking 10 sizes too big for me. I had some black trousers, obviously, and then I borrowed some loafers, because back then it was like shirt, trousers, shoes. So I borrowed some loafers. I looked like a right fucking dick, to be fair. You know what I mean? The shirt was hanging past my fingers and everything. But we went out, because my mate knew the bouncer on the door, so he's like, I know the bouncer, it's going to be great. And the first time I went out, all my mates who was my age, you'll never get in, you're wasting your time and all that. And I remember we went out, and I went to my mate's house while he got ready, and was listening to, I think it was Pete Tong's Ministry of Sound annual, something like that. You know what I mean? One of them CDs that everyone used to listen to. And I was just loving it. I'm loving it. And I went out, and I got into the club. I was like fucking a kid, and it was £1 a drink. So fucking hell, I was absolutely wasted, and I was so naive, unbelievably naive. I remember I was talking to these girls, and they must have thought, who's this fucking kid? Is he trying to chat us up? And I've never been into chatting people up. I just struggle with it and all that shit. So I've never really done that. But I went up to him, and I was talking to him, and they was like, oh yeah, we're lesbians. You know, obviously just trying to fuck me off. And I'd say, I went, fucking hell, lads, the fucking lesbians. You know, I was like, this was like years and years ago, but that was like, I was so naive, and they're like, they're just trying to fucking get rid of you. Just, you know what I mean? I was like, oh. But I was dancing like a fucking lunatic, like I was in some fucking rave. And everyone was just laughing at me and all that sort of stuff. And that, you know, that's the way it started from, really. But then, off the back of that, I tried again, and I never got in the second time, and all this sort, you know what I mean? It was really difficult to get in. And that was all like, we're going to a rave, Milton Keynes, Helter Skelter. I think this was in 1999. And I was like, oh, do you think I'll get in? Because it's a long way to go. Like 30 quid a ticket, long way to go. And they went, oh, man, it's easier to get into raves than it is to bars and clubs. They were going to Birmingham and stuff, and they were struggling to get in anywhere out there into the nightclubs. But the raves, so I went, and it was fucking, I got in, you know what I mean? I remember looking at the videos after, because they used to sell videos, and I looked so young. It was unreal how young we looked. It was unreal. I was like, how the fuck have we got in here? But we was in there, and I was into like happy hardcore, old school, drum and bass, all that stuff. And man, it was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. Had some speed, and that kept us through the night. But fuck me, did it make me paranoid. So yeah, that was my first experiences of that sort of stuff. But yeah, it made me really paranoid anyway. But the night, I absolutely loved it. We went back again a couple more times, and we went to the very last one, the very last Helter Skelter that was held, and it was the year 2000, the Millennium Jam it was called. Went to that, and it was fucking, you know, it was good times, basically. So during that time, obviously, I fell in love with DJing, and that was the thing I wanted to do. But it was very easy to get into it then, because obviously I was still young, I was still at school. But what I did, I remember having for Christmas a set of Cam belt drive decks. They were like 200 quid or something daft like that. But then I had to wait until my birthday in July to get the mixer. So I had these 2 decks. But the way I got around it, because I actually did get around it, I got 2 hi-fis. You know the shitty hi-fis you used to get, like the Bush hi-fis. Well, I had 2 of them, and I had them both set up one side with a deck on each. So I was learning how to mix. So when I got my mixer, I knew how to do it, kind of thing. So I was just fucking learning. But the way I was doing it, I'd have 2 vinyls, and I'd use the volume knobs on each. So I'd have one coming out of one speaker that side and one coming out of one speaker that side, and I'd fucking use the volumes to mix it. But I tell you what, it worked. It didn't like work as in, oh, that's brilliant. It worked in the fact that I understood the principle behind DJing, because I read a magazine. I had a magazine about DJing, and it was like explaining. There was no like YouTube. Well, there probably was YouTube, but I just was savvy to it then. I don't think there was. But it was in a magazine, and it said like, oh, and it counted the numbers, like, you know, how to do your phrasing and your beat matching. And one day the penny just dropped, and that from that moment on, it was like I can teach myself stuff. And once I learned, it's an exponential growth. So that was my first introduction to DJing. I was at school. I was planning on going to university to do multimedia, Cheltenham and Gloucester. That was what was in my head. I was doing art and design in 6th form. And I remember just fucking about a couple of weeks before I graduated, I just said, I don't want to do it. I don't want to go. I had the university papers there. I was like, I don't want to go, because I was into my clubbing and that then. I made my new friends, family, kind of, you know, that kind of thing. And I was like, I don't want to go. So I just didn't go. I said, I want to be a fucking DJ. And so I canned it. And I went and got a job in a fucking foundry. So I'd done well in all school, all the way through, apart from that little glitch I had when I changed over and went to this different school, this rougher school. But all in all, I was doing all right. I was going to get to uni. I canned it all. Went to and then what did I do then? So yeah, I just went out fucking partying, clubbing, going out all the while. DJing. I was just I was constantly, because I went and worked in this foundry after 6th form. Thought, yeah, this is great money. I was earning about 180 quid a week, but I was doing 5 in the morning till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Solid graft, you know, pouring molten metal into casts to make fucking car parts and shit. It was hard work for someone who was so young, first job. So after about 2 weeks, I just fucking went, I ain't doing this. Fuck this, I'm off. So I then went on the fucking dole for about 18 months. Could not get a job. So hard to get a job. Tried, don't get me wrong. Walk, you know, the old way, you just go walk down all the industrial estates, walking in, asking. So all I did all day was mix records. And that's where I learned how to DJ. So yeah, that's where I got up to. That's where I'm going to get up to now. So I've got up to the stage where I've gone through my younger life, and then I'm just about learning to DJ. I've just left 6th form, and the next chapter in my life, it goes a little bit dark, but then it gets better. But we'll leave that for tomorrow. All right, cheers.